our guy Tom Hart with us every Wednesday here on OTB. Tommy, good morning. How are you?
I love having you guys lead my parade. It's the absolute best. And I would be in a parade with either one of you anytime.
Thank you.
Dropping rose petals at your feet, man. Walking, making sure that the that the soles don't hit the cement.
Whenever parades happen again, Tom, you're more than welcome to come get hammered on a float with us at some point.
I am in. That is a promise.
Damn, we got him on record.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever been a part of any Mardi Gras floats or parades in which you've gotten, unabashedly drunk during the riding of?
I mean, to be honest, usually I don't need a parade to get there.
That's fair.
But no, I have not. That would be on my bucket list. In fact, the only time I can remember being in a parade years ago, we were calling a football game at SMU. It was their homecoming weekend, and so we finagled our way into the parade, and the people said, "Yeah, you can do it. Just grab a convertible." Well, of course, when you're doing a parade at SMU, they are in Mustang convertibles, and these are beautiful cars. Like everyone had, their grandpa's car that they had redone. We had a Mitsubishi Eclipse from the DFW National Rental Car.
Yeah.
We bailed on that thing after like 2 blocks and jumped in with a bunch of sorority chicks in their floats. No, let that keep. That's just embarrassing.
Tom, you'll fit in well around here.
Yep.
We asked a question in hour number 1 because we had the Reggie Bush story, and I want to talk to you about Major League Baseball, and I want to get your thoughts on the draft. It starts at 6 o'clock this afternoon. But before we get there, we were talking about Reggie Bush. It looks like his relationship with Southern California is going to be reestablished, and it should be. And we were saying over the last 25 years, he is probably top 3 college football player. We had Burrow. We had who did we have? We had Burrow. We had who was the other one? T that we had.
We had Burrow. Okay, I don't know, dude. Burrow,
Bush. We had
Reggie
Burrow, Bush.
Have you guys, wait,
Yes.
hold on. Have you all been in a parade this
Yes,
morning?
we have.
Chill on. Okay, I was a little distracted getting ready for Would You Rather. Yeah, it was Burrow, Bush, and then the third was kind of up for debate. I think I landed on Cam Newton.
We had Cam Newton. Tim Tebow was the third one in there. Would you agree that that Bush, last 25 years, top 3 college football player, and who are your other 2 in there if Bush is in it?
We're going back 23 years.
25, yep.
20. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, especially if you consider, and I think this applies to Burrow too. I mean, think about the glamour around that USC team. Think about what they meant. Think about how they were always playing in prime time. From what I remember, they were always playing in big games, and the talent surrounding him. Yeah, I have Reggie Bush there, and it's really a shame what has happened to him in the aftermath because what we've understood, and now with the NIL coming along is, crimes, we'll call them crimes. That's not even the right word to use, but missteps 23 years ago that were understood one way are looked at totally different in this day and age, and I think rightly so.
Tom Hart joining us here. Major League Baseball, Tom. We have gone to experts, people like Chad Durbin, who have played the game, to get opinions there, and we've just kind of settled on what's happening between the Players Association and Major League Baseball, and it seems like they're still so far off and have missed a golden opportunity here with just a vacant sports landscape to get in front of eyeballs that they would usually not touch. What is your thought on Major League Baseball? How far off are they? Do you think a season is going to take place? Where do you fall on where the MLB stands today?
Well, I just can't get past the ire I have for the owners in this situation, for the commissioner and for the owners, and certainly the players. It's a negotiation, and everyone bears the weight of making their own decisions and when it comes to negotiating process. But just the short-sightedness of owners to try and take advantage of this scenario to get their teams on televisions nationally, to get them on the field, to capture the nation's attention. What a great story it would have been if we would have had 30 major league teams playing on the 4th of July. Whether there are fans in the stands or not, to be playing around our nation's holiday and to get them out there. And then you've got owners and general managers coming out saying, well, baseball's not really profitable. The owner of the St. Louis Cardinals, Bill DeWitt, the chairman, tried to say that on an interview this week. He said, well, the industry isn't very profitable, to be quite honest. The Cardinals were bought for $150 million in 1995. They're now valued at $2.2 billion. I understand $2.2 billion. I understand that the money that's growing on their tree this year is not quite as fruitful as it has been every other year. But to, with a straight face, get out there in the media and say this business isn't profitable is a lie. It's a total lie, and it's just a PR ploy to try and get people. And I have a hard time understanding, quite honestly, why fans gravitate towards the owners and away from the players in these scenarios. But for the owners to come out and try to do that, this is just a PR ploy to get people to say, yeah, maybe 50 games is fine. No, 50 games is not fine. And the postseason is not going to be fine. Baseball's postseason is successful because of this months-long run-up and the build-up. It's like a great novel you read. Then all of a sudden you get to the end, and there's the cherry on top of the sundae. It's not a sprint, and you're going to play 50 games when you had a chance to play 100 games. You just lost 50 more impressions per team on young fans to grow them and other fans to invest in the sport. Yeah. And with the draft tonight, it should be a great celebration. And because of the pandemic, it won't be as good as it would be. We're not in Omaha getting ready for the College World Series. It's only 5 rounds, but it could be so much better.
What are your thoughts on the draft this afternoon that starts at 6?
Well, I think if you're looking for a silver lining, the draft is now shortened to 2 days. We get the first round tonight. It's going to air on on MLB Network, and our friends at ESPN, including Kyle Peterson and Chris Burke, who cover college baseball every day of the year, are going to be out there on national television talking about the draft in college baseball. That's good. It's also good in one small way that it's a 2-day draft, and with nothing else going on, it'll be in people's mind. It'll be front of mind and on national television. In years past, the draft, basically, even though MLB has tried really hard in recent years, it basically happens over your grandma's AOL account. And then you find out 3 years later who your favorite team drafted. So I think it's a way for the draft to get in the forefront of the sports world, and that's a positive. It's going to be really SEC heavy. Austin Martin from Vandy is going to go pretty early. Asa Lacy from Texas A&M, lefty's going to go. Emerson Hancock, who throws triple digits, who's been was a little bit hittable at the end of last year and didn't have a great start this year, could have gone number 1. He'll be a top 5 pick. But you'll see a lot of very familiar SEC names early on, and get ready to see a lot of SEC baseball highlights tonight when you watch, whether that's on ESPN or MLB Network.
So that is what I wanted to pick your brain about, Tom, is that you will see a lot of SEC players go, but in the same way, like, I don't know that another conference will be as affected by the truncated draft than will the SEC because of guys deciding to return, because of the cap on the signing bonus and because of the less rounds, because there's not going to be minor league baseball this year. Like, do you think, is there going to be an overabundance of talent in the conference next season because a lot of guys that maybe would have gone will end up staying?
Yeah, I'm interested when you guys have Nolan on later to hear what he has to say. But I think there'll be 2 areas that will greatly benefit from this. There will be an overabundance of talent in the best conferences in college baseball, and we think of the SEC, of course, leading the way. But that could also apply to, say, the Big West,
okay,
you know, and a school like Fullerton, right?
Yep.
Just to throw one out there, the Pac-12, obviously. And the big schools in the Big 12, but also I think the junior college ranks are going to swell with MLB caliber talent, guys just looking for an opportunity to play or getting at bats or trying to rush into the next draft. One thing that's not being reported much, or probably isn't in front of mind for fans, is not only are there caps on free agent signings after the 5th round this year, but also the signing bonuses, which are up $4.85 million. Are going to be deferred for the most part. So you can sign, and you're going to get your money, but you're going to get $100,000 right now, and then you can get 50% of your bonus next July and the other 50% the following July. So this isn't, think about winning the lottery, and these guys have worked so hard, and their parents have worked so hard to put them in this position, and that's like saying, yeah, we'll send you your lottery ticket, but it might get lost in the mail. And so, that was agreed upon by the union and by the owners. So it's different, and there's going to be a lot different in this draft this year.
Tommy, what have you made over the last 12 days of Dabo Swinney's life?
He just seems like a guy who doesn't get it. It's one thing to be tone deaf. It's another thing to – and I did not watch his 14-minute soliloquy. and he's had this consistent coaching staff, and he's built something amazing at Clemson. And especially considering where they had been, he deserves an incredible amount of appreciation for that. And he is no doubt one of the best coaches in college football. But we are now in a day and age where you cannot succeed on the recruiting trail if you are tone deaf. And players and their parents are more critical than ever of not only the messages you're sending on draft day, but then on signing day, but then what happens after that. And I just, I'd love to sit down and chat with him someday and kind of be a little bit more critical to his face and say, hey, listen, when you come over here and you say this, what people are hearing is this. And I don't know that he's aware of how his comments are being received. And I think he's a great dude. I really do. I just maybe he doesn't care in some scenarios. But to come out and wear a Football Matters T-shirt was a tone-deaf move. And in this day and age, you cannot, especially to be among the best in your profession, you cannot succeed by being tone-deaf.
When you think Southeastern Conference, you think the voice of Tom Hart. You can hear it every Wednesday here on Off the Bench during the 8 o'clock hour. We always appreciate it, Tommy. We'll catch up next week, man.
All right, thanks, boys.
We'll see you.
Tom,
Can't wait for a parade.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
Us either.